Shalom to all the Jews and Gentiles alike, sending a strong Shalom to the children of light. Namaste to all. You already know what the deal is. We gonna give all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, our power, to El Elyon, the Great Spirit, the All Parents, down into our Father Universe, Yahuwah Sabaoth, Anu Kused, Wakanda, Hawa, Yahadonai, and acknowledgement to our earthly mother, and acknowledgement to our elder brother, Yahushua, Hamashiach, 𝐭𝐡𝐢𝐬 Matzah the Lamb, Yesiah the Messiah, Yahusha, the Lion from the tribe of Yehuda, the one the world calls Jesus Christ. So today we're going to be continuing on talking about the higher ups, but specifically we're going to be talking about the Loka Thought Adjusters. Now, what is a Loka Thought Adjusters? What is that? Y'all already know where we going. We're going to go to the keys. Let's go get the definition for Loka Thought Adjuster: an entity of superior consciousness managing and guiding a plane of consciousness in complex problem solving. Generally, the thought awakening of disciples who will be associated with the family of a Lord, Master, or Ascended Master, as e.g., for example, John the Divine. The sacerdotal name of an order composed of thought adjusters working through revelation, which accompanies consciousness changes in the lower worlds. So basically, the higher evolution can alter or adjust your brain waves, right? Or your thoughts, right? It's right in the word. Loka Thought Adjusters, or just thought adjusters. They adjusting your thoughts, so you gotta stay in alignment. You gotta do your part and they do their part. All right, but let's get more on this. Let's go to key 303, page 368. Let's go to 368. Let's go to verse 67. The order of the Erelim maintain the covenant of light between the throne and centers of higher intelligence. They continually adjust the center of light with respect to the evolving orders of higher intelligence that must be periodically drawn together as the worlds of physical form change with respect to new plans of creation. They also judge the effectiveness of technology, monitoring and ordering civilizations that have not yet found their spiritual identity. It is from their ranks that the Loka Thought Adjusters are chosen to determine the sequences necessary for the lower evolution and the higher evolution to meet and mutate as a joint spirited creation. Through their consciousness controls, they can rescue interdimensional physical intelligence that has accidentally materialized in the wrong time zone, in the wrong dimension of light. They rescue intelligence through their powers of dematerialization, penetrating the matter energy veils of light. Now let's go to the scrolls of Adam and Eve. Let's go to page 94 on the second paragraph. Our next stage of evolution is the midway stations. Whoa, pause. What's a midway station? Let's go back to the keys to get the definition for midway stations. Programming points and clearing stations used by the many brotherhoods of light to govern the physical star fields. And you see here where it says see 𝐁201, because 𝐁201 tells us that Arcturus is our midway station. Let's go to that actually. All right, let's go to 𝐁201, page 181. Let's go to verse 3. These midway stations contain the genealogical records and judicial decisions for all levels of intelligence within the local embrace of the immediate stars. They also contain the weights and measures of the cosmic law that dictates the astronomical balances. For example, these weights and measures are used to guide the passing of one star system through another, preventing the annihilation of myriad life systems. Moreover, the midway stations educate planetary intelligence, providing knowledge on all levels from biology to astrophysics, so that we can grow towards the greater understanding of the house of many mansions. Let's go down to verse 9. Arcturus is our midway station. It is the seat of our administration and is the thesaurus which holds the key documents used for governing the soul progression of our planetary intelligence. Now let's go back to the scrolls of Adam and Eve, page 94. Our next stage of evolution is the midway stations, which are those places of galactic programming working through Loka Thought Adjusters. These are spatial forms of thought adjusters that can come into our region in accordance with our own free will and help us to orient our thought patterns to higher patterns of organization. They allow us to receive more information from the hierarchy, which is crucial to the overall plan. This is part of the process of the re-spatialization of the human race, which is the first level of initiating us into a new space in greater heavenly dimensions. Now let's go to the 5th light picture superscript. Thou shalt be the family. Let's go to 91. The Adamic seed, although now restricted, is still part of an ongoing evolution within specific life stations, spatial and temporal scenarios. Even though we are confined in our planetary realm, the imaging process of the Adamic eidetic image within a given process of life is still active. Our aspect of the 𝐁𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸, even after the fall, can still reach out from its entrapped materialization and work with the angelic hierarchy and the Benai or the sons of light to transmit what is necessary for our receiving of instructions through advanced consciousness thought forms in our experimental worlds of local creation. Now pause. This is in alignment with inductive linkage. Where have I seen this before? Let's get a quick little preset real quick. Key 207, page 242 in the keys. Verse 38. This divine language is also the inductive linkage to the still small voice within the body, which advises you on a real day-to-day decisions in the world so that your consciousness will not err in executing the Father's will. Back to the superscript, 93. As our first image was the heavenly image, the 𝐻𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸, that transferred to earth, we can again display the human-God partnership when our thought form shift to higher thought form realities. As part of the 𝐻𝐸𝐴𝐷𝐸, we initially worked with hierarchical topologies of the consciousness of light as revealed through the family of light. But we have lost that ability. Nevertheless, the local realms of consciousness are eternally receiving thought form information which interacts within our brain. We can perceive not only the local socio-environmental reality, but also higher consciousness input. 95. These thoughts are received in our brains by encoder switches. Whoa, what is encoder switches? Let's see what that is. Let's check the glossary here in the back of the superscript. The definition of encoder switches: a hidden function designed to influence the biomagnetic fields of the body to provide the subtle pulse charge power for the processing of information in a changing local reality. This is how the mind influences reality, and reality influences the mind. Let's read it back again. A hidden function designed to influence the biomagnetic fields of the body to provide the subtle pulse charge power or pulse power for the processing of information in a changing local reality. This is how the mind influences reality, and reality influences the mind. Back to verse 95. These thoughts are received in our brains by encoder switches that work with light amplification within our triune brain, providing us with a bio-laser capability for acceptance rejection logic. So at that point, it's basically up to you. You have the decision to make. This is because the physical brain uses a bio-gravity magnetic charge for communicating and signal processing through the brain-body network, which can influence the biomagnetic fields of the body to provide the subtle pulse power for the processing of information in a changing local reality. This is how the mind influences reality, and reality influences the mind. And this is in alignment with our biotransducer subsystem. All right. 97. All life is interconnected. All creation is part of a communicative sharing maintained by the threefold triple powers of word, way, and thought revealers that continue to shape the dynamics of life. These sovereigns and councils monitor all thought form embodiments, and depending on each soul entity, they provide the experience of awakening through super coherence and non-locality, using multi-dimensional realities even for eventual travel beyond the local systems through Merkaba. Specifically, thought revealers assist in establishing continual lightware and signal wetware. You gotta have the software, the lightware, you know what I'm saying, to go forward, right? That's why it's important. We gotta get into the sciences. Again, specifically, the thought revealers assist in establishing continual lightware and signal wetware, allowing the mind to function with thought forms of higher non-local reality states and perceptual assemblages, which enhance the logic networks. The thought revealers ensure the stability of the network system, as their mission is to maintain a working consciousness field. They are constantly integrating thought forms throughout various space-time realities in order to make the packaging of information functional. They also work through chrono monitors that continually analyze the species' spiritual evolutionary progress. They utilize a library of big data, which is necessary for the various conscious life forms to move into transformatory reactions and integrate into higher consciousness fields. So this is all part of our biotransducer subsystem. Actually, in fact, let's go get the definition for that because we didn't get that earlier. Okay, let's get that. Let's get that in the keys. The definition of biotransducer subsystem: the human embodiment as a biological vessel used to process the thought forms of advanced mental and spiritual intelligence so that transactional data can transform realities on the human plane. Now let's go back to the superscripts. The fifth superscript, 172. That is, we are continually receiving embedded images that are imprinted with our triune brain, principally from the thought revealers and thought adjusters, working from the top down through many intermediate states of light scenarios. They generate and regenerate not only higher thought scenarios, but have a feedback system functioning with energies and oscillations that generate a seal of hierarchical coupling with the soul. Ultimately, in the advancement of the species, a superior brainwave pattern can be introduced into the life cycles through the thought revealers. This is how the higher evolutionary dimensions of experience perfectly coordinate with other realms of creation. There are also thought preservers who operate with selective ideographic powers. Wait, pause. Ideographic powers? Let's go down where it says ideographic powers. The powers behind sacred symbols that represent a meaning or idea without verbal language. They also constitute thought form images that are life impressions. Pause. That is ideographic cybernetics. Let us get the definition for ideographic cybernetics in the keys. Language of light symbols working with more than two-dimensional forms of graphic language. They are geometric pictures and signs which work on many levels of consciousness through a control system connecting the brain and electrical networks. The higher evolution makes use of picture codes, which they can imprint into the feedback system of the brain to advance sensory input/output, so that it is no longer concomitant to the time patterns of consciousness in the physical universe. The process allows higher intelligence to communicate regardless of verbal language, given mental direction that will alter the memory substrate of language, affecting the psychological, neurological, biochemical, and cosmological levels of thought attunement. Back to the superscript. 174. There are also thought preservers who operate with selective ideographic powers that exchange divine data from the Father Universe to the Son and Shekinah universes, extending to the experimental fragments of sub-universes, including planetary systems. The thought revealers continually establish new patterns and eventually develop unique, stabilized modalities for Mind One, which is us, to assist us with critical decisions, choices, creative interpretations, and knowledge of our life's evolution, most of which take place on the subconscious level within us. Thus, we have the ability to not only create our own reality, but to link with the consciousness of the divine associated with the Holy Spirit, to recreate and co-manifest in this micro world. Being aware of such levels of projected consciousness requires both self-realization, inner awareness, and knowledge, outer awareness, that we are human biotransducers. So in addition to our genetic structure, much of the conscious development we attribute to innovations and uniqueness are aided by various hierarchies who establish a corresponding multi-level, multi-dimensional system to advance various intelligences. They link to our mental neural network via, e.g., pyramidal brain cells, the blood and microtubules, right, at Shekinah universe, to impress updated informational codings via our overself, neshama, soul spirit, because there's a difference between your soul and your spirit. 179. Our higher connection, once consciously reestablished, releases the blockages and makes us aware of the information flow from our overself and Christ's overself reality. The overself paradigms are further augmented by the thought revealers, as well as other hierarchies, who allow for expanded evolutionary experiences. This works because our trifold human brain is really a neural receiver of higher conscious processing, as we are part of a greater, non-local biotransducer system, yet having free will. Therefore, we are not biocomputers exclusively, because free will allows us to choose higher thought forms or dwell within the local consciousness field that exists around us and the planet. Although we can link to a higher divine consciousness, we as biotransducers generally have only limited signals. mainly focusing our thoughts on this local life space and not throughout the greater heavens. This is why the majority of our brain power is unused. Whew, let's go back. Let's run that back. 183. Although we can link to a higher divine consciousness, we as biotransducers generally have only limited signals, mainly focusing our thoughts on this local life space and not throughout the greater heavens. This is why the majority of our brain power is unused. So focusing on the things of the world and trying to get the bag, trying to get the money, trying to get the Porsche, trying to seek things outside of yourself, trying to seek external stimulation, trying to get drunk, trying to go to the club, trying to go crazy, trying to go stupid. Nah. 184. The encoder switches in the mind can work like a micro laser action of light amplification, taking us beyond acceptance rejection logic to advanced collective thoughts, which are in some instances supralogical. The encoder switches within the awakened mind can both transmit and receive light functions that come as non-local quanta states of relativity. If the information as energy transduction were to be consciously received, the mind would function on multi-levels, and the encoder switches in our mind/body would reach space-time transcendence. Our consciousness has the ability to work beyond the biomagnetic gravitational local functions as it exists prior to the body. Our consciousness, in fact, can overlay our neural network to the point where even time as we know it is no longer an analog to the Adamic soul as we begin to work with precognition through the latent powers of mind 2 that can share the knowledge of the divine plan. 188. This leads to the actual putting on of the light consciousness of the Holy Spirit, reaching both without and within, that allows us to share with the presence of light from on high and make the connection with our higher overself to bring forth the reconnection and ultimate victory. Let's get the definition for Mind 1 and Mind 2. Mind, the linkage capsule between the divine language systems and the language systems of the mind-body complex. The housing of the wetware, or perceptual apparatus for the mind to reality of higher intelligence. Enoch said, the mind is localized in consciousness. Consciousness is not localized in the mind. Here the mind receives images from an infinite number of mind twos that comprise levels of the quanta universal mind. Mind 2, a second world of consciousness development, preceding the world of physical form. A second world of advanced intelligence as an overself governor, connecting the planetary mind-body complex with the functions of the universal mind. Mind 2 works considerably faster than Mind 1 and interconnects with numerous entities within the greater universe. So that's gonna be it today for this video, for this lesson. Hopefully you learned something new, you got something out of it, you were edified, you had you a little snack, got you something out the pantry closet, you ate good, had you some dinner, and I say shalom and stay strong.